Cartersville, Texas, founded in 1866 by Judge W.F. Carter, Henry C. Varney, and Thomas Parkinson, Cartersville was a thriving community for many years. At its height, the town boasted two main thoroughfares, Main Street and College Avenue. Local businesses included stores, a blacksmith shop, corn mill, a flour mill, and a cotton gin. A post office opened in 1867, and the town also included homes, a school, and two churches. The name of the town was changed to Carter in 1888. By the early 1900s, the town began to decline, and little now remains of the community. Here it is, Old Cartersville Church.
You've arrived.
I have arrived. Well, I guess you could say that it's been a long time coming. Return to Cartersville Church. It has been a number of years since I've been here, and well, as I walk inside, I'll kind of tell you a little bit of the story. The last time I was here and why I wanted to revisit. So this is the old outdoor pavilion that we had set up cameras at last time when we were here doing an investigation. And behind here, they've nailed it shut, but there was let me see if I can, there was a piano down here at one time. So it looks like, from what I can see of the camera, that the piano is gone. And there were some benches out here. Because I remember... Sounds like rain, but it's not raining. Anyway, there was some benches out here last time that we were here, right in all of this area. And it appears that the benches are now gone, but we'll walk inside the church. Very hot day today. So some people may ask, are you nervous about going back in here? A little bit, just because of what happened last time. Looks like they've piled up the pews because they were set up differently. We had actually lined them up where the pews were facing the back of the building, or the back of the church. Walk around the other side here. Always gotta look for hornets and wasp nests, because you never know. Perfect place for it. So I don't know if you can tell, I'm 6'6", about 7-foot ceilings in here, and there is a couple of nests, but they don't look active. I brought this ghost box with me. We're going to do a session with this one here. This is a Radio Shack 626. We'll do a ghost box session in here, but first I'm going to set up a digital recorder in here. I'm going to set up my task cam. It is the DR05. Let this boot up. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that looks... I've got it maxed out right now in recording volume. And... Alright, let's see what time it is, just for giggles, so I can have a time mark, since I've started the task cam. 2:03 p.m. I'm going to put the task cam right over here. Last time I got the EVP that said no, I will not light it up when the REM pod lit up was on the pew right about here. But the really weird thing was I was using a Zoom H4n recorder and it was sitting on the pew. REM pod went off. It picked it up on the Zoom H4n, but it also picked it up on the microphone from the DVR camera that was set up there, set up there, set up in this corner, and in the corner right over here behind me. It picked up that same male voice on all 4 of those devices. Come up and do like you just did just a second ago or a minute ago. And the round item that's on the pew that's glowing red, put your hand or your body right by that and make the lights go off again. Come up and do like you just did just a second ago or a minute ago. And the round item that's on the pew that's glowing red, put your hand or your body right by that and make the lights go off again. Put your hand or your body right by that and make the lights go off again. We'll walk around the property just a little bit and then we'll start a ghost box session. And then I'm also going to do an EVP session with the Panasonic DR60. It's a little bit windy and I'll take the breeze just because it's a hot day today. But then again, Texas summers are always hot. Well, let me stand out in front of the church and tell you a little bit about my ordeal last time. So somewhere in this video I'm going to play a clip of what was captured those years ago when I was last here, and of the male voice and of the REM pod going off and of the response. Now, did not hear the response with my own ears, but it did get picked up on all the recorders. I say all the recorders, the digital audio recorder, and also all the microphones of the DVR setup that we had. And I noticed right after I had left here, it's really windy. I can find a spot maybe around this side of the building. I just wanted to get a shot of the church while I'm telling the story. But it was right after we had left this location and this investigation here that I started feeling ill, physically ill, and that went on for a couple of months. And I'll make this story brief. Oh, caught into the wind again. But got to meet a psychic. Her name was Morgan Lynn, and when I met her, she had noticed that I had an attachment. And then we started talking about, she had brought up what church was I at, and this was the only church that we had investigated at the time. So we started talking about that, and she told me the attachment's name was Frank, that he was an usher. Long story short, She got rid of the attachment, but said that there was the attachment wasn't malevolent. He was trying to get out of this location, but there were some other things that she had said that, when I say things, other creepy crawlies that wanted to keep this attachment here at this location. And it was those things that were making me ill, to try to break the bond of that attachment. So years and years and years went by, and here I am. And I had promised myself that I would not come back to this location. But you know, that's early on, and you can get not intimidated, but you can get a little worried, because you know, those of us that deal with investigations, we have to be very careful of what it is that we're communicating with, how we're communicating. Are we closing sessions out properly? Are we taking care of ourselves? And this was something that I wanted to do for me. I felt compelled to come back out here because, I don't know, it's hard to say. I was compelled to come back out here. A little bit of apprehension about coming back out to a location that I got an attachment from, but also coming out to a location that I promised not to come back to. But I wanted to come back to prove a point to myself that you can come back to a bad location when you're stronger and wiser about what it is that you're doing. You take a little bit more protection and more precautions. But you may say, well, where's Syn-d? I did not want to bring Syn-d, get out of the wind here. I did not want to bring Syn-d into this location, at least not this time. The reason being is, if there was something problematic again, I didn't want to expose her to it. Second off, this was something for me to do that I felt compelled, kind of drawn to almost. And I will tell you, for all those of you that are out there investigating the paranormal, I would, nice little bang, I would highly recommend that you never go out and go investigate by yourself, ever, ever. No matter how much you want to do it, no matter how much your team members, they're busy, they can't make it, whatever the case is, do not go out and try to investigate a location by yourself. You should always have a team member with you. And that's advice that I recommend to everybody. Now, is this something that I'm doing right now? No, I'm out here by myself, so I'm going against my own advice. And we've got some visitors, but I'm going against my own advice, but I also didn't want to subject Syn-d to it. And I wanted closure for me. Closure of Cartersville's church. Now, I'll tell you a little bit of history about Cartersville. Cartersville, there's only 2 buildings left in the old original town of Cartersville. You won't find Cartersville on the map anymore. It's now called Carter, Texas. But there's 2 buildings left of the original town. That is that church and this pavilion. That's it. The only 2 left standing buildings out here. So, you know, like I said, I don't recommend going out to a location by yourself. I'm out here during the daytime. Doesn't really matter. We were out here at night before. You know, nighttime lends you one thing. It doesn't mean that spirits are more active at night than they are during the daytime. Spirits are around 24 hours a day. But when you're investigating the paranormal, it gives you an opportunity to have a quieter environment, so there's not so much contamination of cars or people or music in the background. It's just quiet. You get a little bit of wind, and that's about it. So, I'm trying to think of where to start. I think I'll start inside. All right. I'm starting FM. Hello, are there any spirits here that would like to talk? Do you remember me? Can you say hello? Hi. Almost thought I heard Hi Andre, but hello. What's your name? Years and years and years ago, there was a man that replied to me when I asked if you could light up that REM pod again, and you said, no, I will not light it up. What was that man's name? Has there been a lot of other teams out here to investigate? Let's try AM. For some reason, lately, over the last, I guess, 2 years, 3 years, I've been getting a lot more responses on AM than I do on FM. Crank up the volume a little bit. Hello? But you know, as I say that, of course, it's when I've been out, it's been, the more AM responses I've gotten has actually been at more cemeteries. So it seems like cemeteries are better for AM, or AM is better for cemeteries. Let's go back to FM. We're going to do a quick session. All right, for any spirits that are in this church that are from the original Cartersville, if you'd like to talk, you can have a voice again. Yes. Can you give me a number? How many spirits are left in this town from the old Cartersville? Do any of the spirits here in Cartersville Church remember Frank, the usher? Does anybody remember Frank, the usher? stop the ghost box session just for now. Didn't seem like a whole lot came through. But then again, when it comes to reviewing a ghost box session, just like it is reviewing evidence when you're on an investigation, you have to go back and listen. And that's where you're going to catch any valid replies that are inherent of the question that you asked, or that lend some validity to you being back or me being back. I can tell you that what happened is that the last time that I was here, one of the old team members and I decided, well, it's a church. Maybe we should set up all the pews. So we did, got them all straightened back out. Like I said, had them facing towards the back, because I just went with the assumption if that's the front door to get in, the pews would be lined up here, and somewhere over here would be the pastor, reverend, giving a sermon. So we had straightened out some of the pews, and then, like I said, an old team member and I, we decided, you know what, let's give out a couple Bible passages. So I had announced out loud that, hey, we're going to have services in 5 minutes. Everybody come on back in. And then he and I started spitting out little biblical quotes. And I think that's where everything went wrong. And I say that now with a little bit of hindsight knowledge. Just because a church is holy when it's running, when it's active, and when I mean active, that it is a running church, there are people coming to it, I think that it is a holy location. I also believe that once a church is closed, condemned, abandoned, and there's no more people that come, there's no one to hear to speak the word of God, that other things put up their flags, so to speak. I think that whether you want to call it mean spirits, I don't want to get into the whole demon stuff and all that, but I think negative stuff will now claim ownership to the location. And I think that when the ex-team member and I started giving out biblical quotes, that kind of stirred things up. And stirred things up in not a good way. So I don't know this to be 100% true. This is just my opinion. Everyone has a right to their opinion. But I think when it comes to churches that have been abandoned and are no longer functioning, the Word of God is no longer being preached, there's no one there to come and listen to the sermon and to pray and such not, you have to be very careful. Do not try to treat it as an active running church. You have to look at it like it's just an abandoned building now. Be respectful of both sides of a coin, so to speak. But that's what started everything here. The weird thing was the psychic that had recognized that I had the attachment, she had really pointed out that there was a section of the floor, and you can't see it with everything covered up here, but you can see a little bit of broken concrete there. But this whole area right over here in the middle it doesn't have a hole, but it's just where all the concrete, because it's so thin, I guess, and being so old, that it had sunken down and cracked everywhere. She had depicted it as a hole, and I could see it as a hole because of everything that was dented down, like a depression. But she said that those things came out of that hole. So, interesting. I don't know. So now we're going to do a little Panasonic DR60 session. And since there's no wind, this is going to work out great. Got fresh batteries in this guy. So we're going to test it out right now. Hello. I welcome any spirits that are here to have a voice, as long as you are a nice, respectful spirit. Could you say hello? Ending recording.
Hello. I welcome any spirits that are here to have a voice. As long as you are a nice, respectful spirit, would you say hello? Ending recording. Ending recording.
Definitely something there. So the spirits that are here that are nice and respectful, you do not have to scream. Just come up to the device in my hand and it can hear your voice better than that other recorder that's right there on that counter or on that pew. So can you come up and tell me your name, please? Ending recording.
So the spirits that are here that are nice and respectful, you do not have to scream. Just come up to the device in my hand, and it can hear your voice better than that other recorder that's right there on that counter or on that pew. So can you come up and tell me your name, please? Ending recording. Ending recording.
All right, here's a question for you. I was here about 5 or 6 years ago. Do you remember me? Can you tell me my name? Ending recording. By the way, these are voice activated. So when you see that little REC, the record, when it stays on, it's hearing something. When it's just flashing, it's not hearing anything.
All right, here's a question for you. I was here about 5 or 6 years ago. Do you remember me? Tell me my name.
Okay, you're talking very loud. If you can talk a little bit softer so that I can hear you, because otherwise it comes out really muffled. Once again, I was here 5 or 6 years ago. Do you remember me? Can you tell me my name, please? Ending recording.
Once again, I was here 5 or 6 years ago. Do you remember me? Can you tell me my name, please? Ending recording. Once again, I was here 5 or 6 years ago. Do you remember me? Can you tell me my name, please? Ending recording.
Definitely a lot better. Do you guys remember Frank? That was an apparent attachment to me when I left here. Ending recording.
Do you guys remember Frank? That was an apparent attachment to me when I left here. Recording.
Can you name the other 2 team members that were with me 6 years ago when we were here? Ending recording.
Can you name the other two team members that were with me 6 years ago when we were here? Ending recording.
There was two very faint things there. So thank you very much for not screaming. That was very quiet and very whispery, and that was fine too. If you maybe just a little bit louder than that. Do you have any messages for people that come to old abandoned churches? Ending recording.
Do you have any messages for people that come to old abandoned churches? Ending recording.
That was great. Let's play that back. Something
Do you
there.
have any messages for people that come to old abandoned churches? Ending recording.
Something
Do you
there.
have any messages for people that come to old abandoned churches? Ending recording.
Okay, so there's a full-on sentence there. Of course, I'm going to stick it in the computer, clean it up a little bit, just to kind of try to make out what's there. But anyway, to the spirits here, start recording. So to the spirits here, I thank you very much for interacting with me and chatting, and I wish you nothing but the best. I hope that you are where you want to be. And if you're not, pray otherwise to be where you want to be. And on any parting words, anything that you'd like to say to me before I go? All right, ending recording. Could have been that car in the background driving.
So to the spirits here, I thank you very much for interacting with me and chatting, and I wish you nothing but the best. I hope that you are where you want to be, and if you're not, pray otherwise to be where you want to be. And any parting words, anything that you'd like to say to me before I go? Ending recording.
All right, put this bad boy back on hold so I don't drain the battery in it. There was a reply there. I'm kind of curious to see what that reply was. As I do this video, as there was a reply, I will replay the reply. Most time I have to slow it down and clean it up just a little bit, but I'll kind of throw a little black and white over the image so that you know that that is a replay of whatever the response is or was. And time to turn off the DR05. So all in all, did I spend a lot of time here? No. Didn't feel like I wanted to spend a couple of hours here. I just wanted to drive the nice country road, come back out to Cartersville, come back out to the church, tie up a loose end. And the loose end is going to be my wanting to confront some apprehension and to kind of close the book on that previous investigation. So I'm finished here. I'm going to go back and download everything that I've recorded today. And just to know that don't fear the paranormal. When you fear the paranormal, you open yourself up to all sorts of ill things that can happen that you may not be prepared for. And going back to a location like this for me was one of those instances where I'm kind of practicing what I'm preaching. So I am not fearful of coming back to this location. I'm not fearful of any attachment. I'm not fearful of any attack. I'm not fearful of any sick feelings. None of that. I know everybody's different. How you approach the paranormal is up to you. But you have to have your own power, whatever that it is. If you consider yourself your own power, then you are empowered by yourself. If it's through Christianity, then so be it. If you're Baptist, Protestant, Lutheran, Catholic, Muslim, Jewish, it doesn't matter. Whatever your faith is that gives you strength and protects you, that's the faith that you need to have when you're going into a location. But always be prepared. Do not instigate. Do not try to provoke. Treat these spirits with respect, even if they're grumpy spirits, even if they're not nice spirits. Just treat them with respect. Don't cross the line. Don't try to push, because sometimes they can push back and you may not enjoy the pushback that much. Until the next investigation, take care of one another. Remember, always be safe, and above all, keep it spooky. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.